Identity theft is a form of stealing someone's identity, where someone pretends to be someone else in order to access resources or obtain credit and other benefits in that person's name. Identity theft occurs when someone uses another's personally identifying information, like their name, identifying number, or credit card number, without their permission to commit fraud or other crimes. Perpetrators of these types of crimes often adversely affect the credit histories of innocent victims for several years. Detective Jim Dezek has worked financial crimes with the Southfield Police Department for almost 9 years. He says that at least 40% of the financial crimes reported to the Southfield Police Department are crimes of identity theft. He says that crimes have evolved from letter schemes to telephone, and now it's mostly email schemes.
Credit card theft is when they obtain your 16-digit credit card information. They do that from various means. Some of the transactions, they obtain your credit through legitimate transactions, but they skim the numbers. We've had a couple cases recently within the last year where unfortunately a couple of our local restaurants had employees that were involved in credit card skimming. And generally what you need to watch out for to protect your credit card numbers is know the merchants that you shop at. Keep an eye on what the servers at the restaurants are doing with your card. Let's say if they're gone for an unusually long amount of time, it doesn't take very long to swipe it into their system. If they're gone for 10 or 15 minutes, I would be concerned. And make a note of that transaction so that you can assist law enforcement with finding the point of compromise. Online purchases, as far as credit card fraud, we're not certain exactly where these card numbers are compromised. We do know from experience, however, that there are chat rooms that will sell credit card numbers. A lot of the other credit card fraud that we see are online purchases. And again, point of compromise is very difficult for us to track. It's easy to find out where the goods were delivered to. Unfortunately, when we follow those leads, it doesn't always lead to the perpetrators. It could be a drop point, either an abandoned house, somebody meets the delivery service, gets the goods, or it could be to a legitimate address where the people are working during the day. Southfield has quite a few high percentage of people who work during the day. Subsequently, they're not home, and it's easy for the perpetrator to meet the delivery that goes to a legitimate address. Okay, when you pay your bills, I personally like the online bill paying. To me, it's one of the most secure ways to pay your bills. The only thing you need to be concerned about is that you're on a legitimate site. When you're making purchases, that it says at the address bar of your browser, it'll say HTTPS. The S stands for secure, and that information is encrypted. There's nobody that can capture your number through cyberspace that way. Another important thing about paying your bills, we still all use paper checks from time to time. My advice would be not to put it in your curbside mailbox, but take it to a post office or at least a blue box where it's not subject to theft. Fortunately, we have a pretty low percentage of people who are scammed by email. What we do see, however, is occasionally somebody responding to, "You've won the lottery," or "I've won the lottery, but I need your assistance in paying taxes or my legal fees in getting the money, and for your efforts you'll get X amount of dollars." That's one of the common scams on the email. But I would be wary of unsolicited emails, even if it's from merchants that you deal with, your banks or stores, asking for any kind of personal information. They generally will not ever ask you for personal information, either by phone or by email, in regards to your account. One of the common schemes we do see is an overpayment scheme. And involving that is usually you have an item for sale and you put it on a public list. Somebody responds to you either by phone or email saying, "I'd like to purchase this. Can you send me your address and I will send you a check for the full payment. The full payment is actually an overpayment. If you're offering an article for $500, you may receive a check for $1,500. So the purchaser overpays this amount and asks you to wire back the excess money. You, in the meantime, have taken your check with some excitement because it's you've sold your item to the bank, you deposit it, find out 2 or 3 days later that it's indeed a counterfeit check. And if you have remitted some of those monies or taken it out and spent those monies, you're still liable with your financial institution because you're the person who deposited the bad check. Don't set yourself up to be a victim of a robbery. If you have an item, let's say you're selling a high-end watch, you meet with someone, you don't know these people, try to meet at a place that's safe, not a parking lot in a mall, where you can then transact your business. Or if you feel comfortable enough, do it at your home. But on the reverse side of it, if you are a purchaser of a high-end item, that perpetrator may have you meet them somewhere for the sole purpose of stealing your money because they know you have cash in hand. That was part of the terms that you've negotiated to purchase that item.
Detective Diezik also suggests making sure you have strong passwords when doing online purchasing.
Use a strong password, special characters, numerics, and things like that that will be hard for people to guess, especially when it comes to your personal finances and things like that. Make sure that your software is up to date, that you have appropriate antivirus and anti-malware software running. It used to be you got a paper letter in the mail soliciting money from you for a sick relative or that you've been selected as a winner in some sweepstakes. That evolved into the phones with the texting, and now it's gone mostly through email scams. A lot of the scams, and again I would caution you from opening any emails from unsolicited merchants or people that you don't know, and especially if you click on the links that are contained within those emails. Those links are often associated with malware, something that can infect your computer and compromise your personal data.
Often we are scammed online by phishing sites, a site that looks like a merchant or a banker.
In regards to what could be a phishing site is what it's called. When you have a site that looks like your merchant, the hyperlink within these emails will take you to a site that appears to be either your bank or your merchant requesting certain information from you. Even though the site looks legitimate, the hyperlink is not a link to the merchant, it's actually to a redirect to go somewhere else. What you can do if you are concerned that your password has been compromised or that there is a problem with your account, open up a new browser, go to the site that you know is your bank or your merchant, not from a link within the email. And then you know you're on a legitimate site, and you know you have a legitimate toll-free number to call with your concerns. So some of the things you can do to protect your identity is be aware of your surroundings. If you're a lady shopping at a store, be in control of your purse. Don't leave it in the shopping cart where somebody can go in and snatch your credit cards. And more importantly, your identification, your driver's license, which has your date of birth, which is the 2 or 3 things you need to obtain a line of credit fraudulently. Also, if you have loved ones in assisted living, or if you have people who are assisting your elders with services at your household, make sure you put your checks and your personal identification away somewhere, preferably locked, so that it's not tempting sitting on a nightstand for somebody to take a check out of the back of the book. Whether they use that check or not, they can then counterfeit checks with your routing and banking information. You know, when it comes to credit cards, you have to notify your bank within so many days after your statement comes in. That's when you find out you're a victim, that somebody has taken your account numbers and compromised you. The thing about use of debit cards is if they get your debit card number, then they have access to the subsequent checking or savings account that that debit card is attached to. And although you may be covered for the loss at your bank, your inconvenience is going to be tenfold versus that of a credit card, because you're going to be overdrawn and you're going to have to deal with all the checks that you're now overdrawn with, and fees associated in trying to recuperate those fees. I'd also recommend that you file your taxes early. You may be a victim of identity theft by somebody who has compromised your personal information, filed a fraudulent return, obtained a refund, and when you go to file your actual IRS return, you'll be notified that somebody's already filed in your name and social security number for that year. If you are a victim of identity theft, you can start by filing a police report with your local police department. Michigan law had changed back in 2005, March I believe it was, whereas if you're a victim of identity theft, you can file within the jurisdiction that you reside. So you don't have to necessarily find out that you were a victim of identity theft and the bank is in Chicago, Illinois. You don't have to file with that agency. The next thing to do if you're a victim of identity theft is something you should do yearly anyway, and that's obtain a credit report. There is a free site that you can go to. You're allowed to get one report a year. It's a federal law, and you're allowed to get all 3 credit reporting bureaus a report from each once a year. That website is annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com is a free site for you.